Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at some geometrical proofs, and what we're going to do is just apply some of the concepts that we've already looked at. Now, just to go over what we already know, let's have a look here. This is vector notation here. We can tell it's vector notation because of this little arrow up the top, and this also is vector notation over here. So this is saying the vector from O to X, so the vector from O to X, this vector here, okay? And it can also be written using a letter, a bolded letter. So what this is saying here is this vector is called vector OX, but it's also called vector X, okay? Using this lowercase letter here in bold. Generally, you'll see that in bold when it's represented by one letter. Okay, so we know that we've got this vector here is represented by this lowercase x here, and this vector here is represented by this lowercase y. Now, what they want us to do here is they want us to write these vectors here in terms of this x and this y here, okay? Okay, so let's just go to a fresh page to give ourselves some room. So again, what we're going to do is we're writing this vector here in terms of our lowercase, or OA in this case will be lowercase x and our y's, okay? So vector OA, so from O to X is our vector, and, oh, no, we're looking, is our main vector here, which is represented by the X, but we just want to know what OA is. And we've already been told in the question that these guys here are our midpoints. So this is the exact middle between O and X. So this is, vector OA is actually just half of vector OX. Okay. Now, OX, as we know from before, is just represented by X, so that's the same thing as saying half X. Okay. Now, OB, same deal here. B is the midpoint between O and Y, and we know that Y is another name for vector OY. So if B's halfway, then OB is going to be half of vector OY, and we know that vector OY is represented just by the lowercase y, so that's going to be half y. Okay. Next one, XY. Oh, this one's a little bit more tricky. So I've got this vector here, and I want to write that in terms of x, lowercase x and lowercase y. So XY, what is XY? Well, it means that I want to go from this point here to this point here. Now, to do so, I'm going to have to go back down to O, okay? So we end up with negative OX, all right, or negative X, okay? And then we're going to go positive in this direction. So we're going to go in a negative direction of OX, okay, and we're going to add in a positive direction of OY. Now we know that OX is simply X, so that's going to be negative X plus, and we know that OY is just Y. And if we want to write that in a more concise manner to limit the number of signs that we're using, that's simply just going to be Y minus X. Okay? Now let's have a look at OC. So vector OC. So we're going from the origin, okay, to this point here. This is our OC. So how do I get to that point? Well, I'm going to have to go along this vector here. So I'm going to go along vector X in a positive direction, so positive X. And then I'm going to have to go because this is a midpoint, I'm going to go down halfway of xy. Okay. Now we've determined that vector xy is actually just y minus x. So we're going to be adding halfway of vector y minus x. Now let's just expand that. So half, so they'll end up being half of y, and then a positive times a negative, then I'll have negative half of x. Now let's combine our like terms. Our like terms here, we've got minus x, minus half x, sorry, and of a full x, so that will leave us with a positive full x, so that will end up a positive half x, sorry. So we'll end up with half of x plus a half of y. Okay, and if we want to simplify that, we can just take that half out, say half x plus y, like that. All right. And finally, we've been asked to find vector CO. So we want to find the vector. Now let's just change flavour here. We want to find this vector. So it's just the opposite direction, the same vector in the opposite direction. Okay, same magnitude, opposite direction. So we've already found OC, and that happened to be half x plus y. So CO is just going to be negative half x plus y. And that's part A done.